Hello everyone, welcome to a new series of videos I'll be making while I do my speedruns of Gold and my Die by Sword LP, but I should resume. So, the Dark mod, if you've never heard of this, this is basically a mod for Doom 3 that replicates Thief, the two Thief games. Not counting Delta Shadows. It's a total counter for Doom 3. It is a very good game that is extremely faithful to the original series, but also adds to them some new gameplay changes. The AI is more alert. They can do some stuff together. They can light torches almost naturally. You could do that in Thief 2, but you had to use scripts. I think they do it base in the Dark mode, which is pretty cool. The combat is harder, way harder actually. There is next to no hand-holding. There is a new lockpicking system that works very much like the one in the first two Thief games, but you have to. There is an oral dimension. Meaning that when you're picking a door or a lock, the tumbler moves and it emits a noise. When the tumbler stops, it doesn't make a noise anymore, and you have to click or use the use key on it to unlock the next stage. If you miss, you have to just do it again. I think it's nice because it adds a more tension, especially where there are some AIs around. So if you mess up, you have to do it all over again. It's pretty cool in my opinion. These videos will show some levels that I found outstanding. Probably the best levels to introduce a new player in the world of the Dark mod. So for obvious reasons, the team responsible for this mod were not allowed to use Eidos intellectual properties such as Garrett, the city, the Keepers, the Hammerites, Constantine, the Trickster, etc. So they had to build their own mythology, which is very close to what we have in Thief. So you have the builders, who are a technocratic religious sect in the world. Just like the Hammerites, they are basically the same outfit, and they are the same fanatical lunatics who will just love to hate. They have a symbol of a hammer with a gear, which is really cool looking actually. I really like it. It's just really ballsy in its appearance. There is the pagans, which are a barbaric ensemble. They're much like tribes of barbarians with various kings and all outside of the city. There is a guild of inventors who are pretty much like the mechanists without the religious side. They create new inventions like robots. There is a lantern robot in the regular game, for instance. They work on various contraptions and stuff like that, and they're basically scientists. So there is a duality in magic and science. Magic is very much something that exists in the Dark mod, but science also does so. This is not a live commentary because I forgot to actually record, so I'm just going to read the briefing. Today, my contact merchant has brought me news of a lucrative opportunity. Turns out there is a man living on Fauchard Street named Landerman. His business is credit, but long gone are the days when he was just one of the kind of read in the preview I have. Well, you can just read at your leisure. So yeah, the first map I'm trying in this video is Fiasco at Fauchard Street by Melan. If you're familiar with and missions for Thief and Thief 2, you already know Melan. He is the mind behind such masterpieces as Disorientation and Unbidden Guest and Prowler of the Dark. He has also made Bad Debts, which was his first mission. For the Dark mod, he has done a mission called Return to the City, which was his first, and was significantly improved later on with help from another major actor in the Dark mod mapping, which is Barker Dude, who has made some really cool missions that I intend to play. So, going back to Melan, he's also making a mission for the moment that is called Penny Dreadful, The Grave of Regrets, which is a new campaign featuring a new protagonist named Gerald Foxley. I am a beta tester on this mission, and it's really excellent. I think it's my favorite from him in the Dark mod. So let's see our objectives. We have to steal a pouch of opals from Landerman. We have to plunder the neighborhood and get 1,000 loot, and we have to get back where we began. In this mission there is a bug, which is when you select expert difficulty, it reverts back to hard. Since this level was made in like less than 10 days, it has some bugs. It was a exercise of style from Melan to be able to create a mission in a very short time, and I think it paid off because it's a very good mission, one of my favorites. It has a very good looking cityscape, which is pretty small, but it's very good looking. It has a very nice atmosphere. The story is pretty cool. It's pretty thin, but it's cool nonetheless in his usual style. So the city looks pretty run down. It's covered in grime. It's grim. It's very dark looking, pretty vertical. Pretty cool. See some Steam messages I'm receiving. Just don't pay attention to them. So this playthrough is a ghost playthrough. So I am not using my blackjack. I'm not using anything that can make me get spotted, basically. So if you're new to the Dark One, if you don't know anything about it, if you just know the Thief games, I'll just explain pretty briefly the things that you will encounter in the Dark mod. Just waiting for the loading to finish. Since I have a new and better rig, I'm able to record max resolution with max details without stuttering at all, so it's pretty cool. Come on. So, in the Dark mod, here we are in Fauchard Street. So this is pretty much like Thief. You have a light gem in the middle, which indicates your light meter. You have blackjack, which works exactly like in Thief. Just club people on the head with it. You have a short sword, which is exactly like in the original Thief games. The thing is that it doesn't slow you down, but it does make you more visible when drowned. And with me I have 10 brooded arrows, which I'm getting out now. And on my inventory I have a map with a wrong icon, so I began at Fauchard Street north. There is Gross and Squill on the left, which is west. There is Landerman's house south, and Arlick Estate, which you cannot get in, and there is an office complex. And the poorhouse looks like. And you have some other inventory items I will just show. You have a compass, a flash bomb, a spyglass, a lantern, and my lockpicks. The lantern is just like the flares in Thief 2, but just way more powerful in its light. So I'm waiting for this guy to just get out of the way. And we're going to climb some chains. So, some stuff about the dark mode still that I just hadn't had the time to tell is that there is a new mental system that is pretty similar to the one used in Thief, but it's a lot less. The player gets a lot less punished when he tries to get somewhere. It's very easy to mental on objects and stuff. So we're going to get our first piece of loot here, which is a purse with a vase. So if you've played the previous Thief games, it's pretty much exactly the same, just better in the things sometimes. So normally I'd be reading the message. I did it in my playthrough, but I realized I wasn't recording the sound of my microphone, so I will just leave them for you to read. So in the dark mode, the readables do not pause the game anymore, so you have to read them in a safe place, basically. And they have some different fonts for different persons. Some of them are pretty easy to read, like this one, and some others are really tedious. If you have some scratched writing and all, very hard to read sometimes. You can just get it back where you found it. So yeah, new mental system, the AI is more aware of its surroundings, it can move its head around, which is pretty nice. And it's more intelligent than in Thief, and it's also more dangerous overall, so you have to be careful. But yeah, the light gem has some tiny hinges you can see on the side, and if you're crouched, these get reduced in size. Since this uses the Doom 3 engine, it also uses a physics system that I'm going to show you in an instant. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a piece of valuable piece of loot on the windowsill here, which is a golden cup. I'm going to get my broad arrows out and going to knock it off. But first I'm going to use the spyglass, which works like the mechanical eye in Thief 2 and Thief Deadly Shadows, which allows you to zoom, simply enough. Since objects make noise, I'm just making sure the guy is not there. I have to adjust my shot several times to get it quickly. Just another shot. Here we go. So, Fiasco is a pretty small mission, which is good for beginners. Because even if the game is pretty similar to Thief, it's pretty much a clone, it's really different. In its movements in particular, you have so many different types of movements that make more or less more noise or less noise, like that, so you have to be very wary of what you do. You can eavesdrop on doors by leaning onto them, which was introduced in Thief 2 at the time, which is not possible to do in Thief Gold and Thief 1 with the new Dark Engine, of course. Should use them just waiting for a guard that will come from the other side of this factory. He's going from the office complex, which you saw on the map. Here he is. So just like in Thief, of course you make noise even when you are crouched, and metal is very noisy. So you'll see me be very careful on that bridge. I even almost get caught here. There you can see that aesthetically the game looks very similar to Thief. What I like with Melan in particular, and even some people like Biker do too, is that they have very a style that's very reminiscent of Thief the Dark Project, which is my favorite game of all time and also my favorite game in the series. Yeah, so you have this, this very dark city, very grimy, very vertical, more medieval than steampunk, Victorian. Even if you have some Victorian influences, you can clearly see in the building. Just playing with the chair here. Not make noise, because of course they can hear you with the objects to drop or throw, which is pretty nice. Oh, they could hear them if you produce some thief titles too. Here is an example of pretty hard to read and readable. I guess I'm really hard time reading it. I'm just leaving it here for you. I'm going to read them. After that, we'll see the lockpicking in action. So pay close attention to the sound it makes. We'll see. This cabinet here I can open. When the tumbler doesn't make noise, I just clicked with the use button, which is like the fraud button in the Thief games, and basically it opened the this table here. I don't know how they're called. So just like in games like Half-Life 2, you can just have fun with physics. The subject here is pretty far, so I have to lean forward. And it's another readable. If you've read the readable we found in a factory area with the stolen loot, you will see that the writer was right, and that someone saw him put some stuff. So, like the usual Melan missions, you have some little backstories here, just to make the world seem alive. Like you had some stuff that was very similar in the Thief games too. Especially in there was in Thief 2, you could reach something in a mission. I think it was ambush, if I remember correctly. What was readable about a think it was an alchemist or an apothecary or something. What was just a front for some operating business, illegal stuff. You could read that on this level, and then like 6 levels after, you had Life of the Party, and there was some readables about that, which was really nice continuity in my opinion. So here is our target. This is Lenderman's house. This is the front entrance. You can go through the balcony or through the front door, but we will use neither of them. We will go through the back garden. And this bridge I'm looking at is actually a place you can go, but it's very hard to do. I'm going there at the very end of the mission, through just another way entirely. So going by the front entrance is basically suicide, because it's very well lit and the sentry there does not move at all. There's another guard too with them, so you could go potentially from the balcony, but you have to jump in a very specific manner to avoid making noise, which is pretty hard to do. But just like in Thief, if you drop down crouched, you won't make noise when you land. It's very nice. Some trick you can use for your advantage. So, this section is pretty straightforward ghosting, so there's not much to comment on. I'm just going to talk about the dark mode in particular. The current version of the dark mode is 1.08. It needs Doom Free to run. If you're planning to get this mod, you have two choices. You can either buy Doom Free for a steal at the moment on the Steam sales. Be aware that you need the original Doom Free version, not the BFG. Why? Because BFG doesn't have any mod support at all, so the dark mode will just not run with BFG. So just get a copy of Doom Free, which is pretty cheap as well, and Doom Free is a pretty good game too. So if you like shooters with an emphasis on horror, it's pretty cheap at times, but it's a fairly effective game in my opinion. It's very different from the original Doom games, but it's pretty good in its own right. So. Or you can wait for the standalone version, which will be called the Dark Mode 2.0, which is scheduled to be released this fall of this year. This version will not need you to have Doom Free, so you will just have to download it from the website and install it, and you'll be good to go, which is very cool. And it will also introduce some new stuff, some gameplay changes, like for instance, when you knock someone out and their bodies fall on the floor, it doesn't make any noise. Well, it makes a noise, but the AIs cannot hear it. This time they will be able to hear it. And when you have some very hammered dudes like the builders, you will have to be very careful when you KO them. So yeah, compared to Thief, the dark mode is more difficult, I'd say. Demands a probably higher skill. Which is nice, in my opinion. I like challenging games. So I think for the moment, from what we saw, the dark mode just trumps Thief 4. Just so much. And there's no contest between them. I think the dark mode is Thief 4, and Thief 4 is just a travesty. I made a video on my thoughts on P4, and they have pretty much not changed at all. With the latest stuff we learn about the game, it's even worse. So now, if you're definitely looking for some FIFA action, next-gen FIFA, just grab the Dark Mode now. You will not be disappointed. It's pretty rough around the edges. I mean, the voice acting could use some more work. It's pretty rigid, but other than that, it's a very good game. And it's free. So here's a good reason to grab it. Well, technically it's not free because it uses Zoom free, but the standalone version will be free. And it also has modding tools, so map editors and such, so you can, if you're interested in making some maps, you can just grab the editor, which is called Dark Radiant, and just begin level design for the Dark Mode. If you are familiar with recent editors like the Valve Hammer editor, well, recent, not more recent, or the UDK, it's pretty much the same thing. And the community is pretty active, so if you're interested, just get the game, and if you like what you see and want to contribute, you can always make a level. Melan made this one in 10 days using primarily prefabs, which are pieces of architecture of objects that are pre-made that you can use at leisure. And he also made a pack with his prefabs you can use in your maps, which is pretty nice. So yeah, if you're interested, basically the mod needs more missions. So please, if you like the mod, make submissions for it. There is also a cool campaign in the work that is called The Crucible of Omens, whereas the best level designers for TDM on board, such as Melan, of course. There is Dude, there is Jade Dude, there is Dram, which made a absolutely fantastic manor map. But I just saw on screenshots and didn't have a chance to play. I am not one of the few who are able to do so, but it's looking fantastic, absolutely fabulous. So it's in the works. It's the level designing is almost done apparently, but they are having some struggles with the managing of the project. So I hope for the best for them, because it's looking mighty fine. It's going to be a linear mission-based campaign, just like the original Thief games, with very open-ended levels. Lots of things to discover, some really different settings, like you have some mansions, you have some city missions, you have I think there is a catacomb mission, just like the Bone Horde, for example, if you're into this kind of missions. I like the undead, so yeah, definitely a good point for me. And the undead in the Dark Mode is pretty cool, actually. I like them. I like the zombies. I like the revenants, which are their haunts, which are pretty damn scary because they're really hard to kill, actually. So I'm just avoiding them for the most part. So here we arrive in the back garden. And there is a piece of loot in one of the windowsills, which is a golden spyglass, which is hard to get, as you will see. I have some difficulties getting to there. Just cycling through my inventory here. It's on this windowsill the first I selected, but you cannot see it from here. You have to get on the pipe and on the back balcony. So yeah, so bear with me as I try to reach this spyglass. We'll have some times where I'll load the game, but on my rig it's very fast, so not much problems. You have to mental the gargoyle. I thought I had it on my first try, but no, alas, I fall. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty rough on the edges for the moment. It's a mod. It's made by amateurs who are very dedicated in their work. As you can see, it's a work of love, really. These sound effects are pretty good, especially the ambience. The Melan's last mission, Penny Dreadful, uses very good sounds. He's basically a master at ambience, at sound ambience, like Sperry in his sign in Fifth Gold. The campaign Shadow of Doubt. I don't know if you guys played it. If not, you should do, because it has the most terrifying mission ever made. And it's also a work of art as far as atmosphere and immersion is concerned. And Melan is a disciple basically of Sperry. And this shows him, even in his Dark Point missions. Especially Penny Dreadful, as I said. Which isn't released yet. It should be released in next week probably, because testing went pretty well. It's a very good mission. I'm not going to spoil anything for you. I'm just leaving you to discover what it will be. It's very good. It's very, very good. It's actually my favorite from him on TDM. So we're almost there, almost at the spy glass. And here we go. And now we have to go back. I almost fell here, twice actually. Here I can make as much noise as I want, but no one around. And back to a balcony. Ghosting frowns upon damage, but whatever. I'll just make an exception for this one. So here is Lenderman's house. I'm just taking a save now that I am in. Basically, at the middle of the playthrough. So just like in Deadly Shadows, you can douse little objects such as candles. You can manipulate them to make dynamic lighting. So oh yeah, something I didn't talk about. So since he uses the Doom engine, of course, there is dynamic lighting and dynamic shadows, which is very nice. Very nice looking. The shadows are very sharp, really good looking. Just going to sneak past that guy. I don't know if you can correctly hear the game. I think the sound may be too low, so if that's the case, for next time I will just boost the sound effects slider in the options. We will reach some more stuff. Giving you papers. So Landerman here talks about a staircase. This is something that's pretty cool, pretty clever actually by Melan. The staircase in question is an object that's too complex for AIs to walk on, I think. If I remember correctly, it was too complex and they couldn't walk on it. It's too hard for them. So Melan invented this excuse that the guards are terrified of it, and you know. If you're new in the dark mode, I think Fiasco at Fauchard Street is a good place to start. It's a small mission, it's fairly easy. It's not the most beautiful mission, I'll tell you that straight away. Since it was made in a very short time span, of course, it's not going to be the perfect mission in terms of visuals, but it gets the job done quite well. The atmosphere is really nice and all. If you're looking for the most beautiful development mission released so far, I'd say settling. It's a score to settle by Spring Hill is probably your best bet. It's one of my favorites, and it's one of the best looking missions so far. It has a very believable cityscape, not as vertical as Melan's, but it's pretty nice nonetheless, and also the story is pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting and pretty adult in its themes. So if you don't like some missions that are pretty light-hearted, I think Score to Settle is a good mission, but it's pretty hard, so it's not a mission I would recommend for the first time. Another good-looking mission is Tears of St. Lucia, which is included in the dark mode by default. So you can just install the game and just play Tears of St. Lucia at your leisure without having to install anything else, which is nice. It's a pretty good mission, pretty good introduction to both the game and the universe it's set in, with the builders and the various cities around and stuff like that. It's pretty nice. It's not so hard. It's pretty relaxed. It's pretty non-linear, so you can pretty much go wherever you want. It's very beautiful. Some very nice interiors and outside areas, especially one area that is some sort of slope, very uneven slope and all. It's very nicely made. I have a good-looking mission if you like cathedrals. Is St. Albans Cathedral, which I'm planning to play later on. It is a city cathedral mission, so it has a small city part, which is nice to explore, and it has a very impressive indoor cathedral. There is no exterior for it, sadly, but back on the game. Just like in Thief, you can eat some stuff, but it doesn't restore your health points, as far as I know. So I'm just eating some of these apples. And like Thief, the game has some magic in it, of course. These blue torches, in particular, look very good, in my opinion. Very nice light. Just making sure there is nothing under this kettle. Aha! We discover a key and a message. Oh no! We've been double-crossed! Someone heard us at the tavern and decided to steal our ropes and steal the opals for himself. So that we have no choice but to steal some other stuff. Ah! Tough life. So the other missions I'm going to play will be ghosted too. In this one I don't find all the loot, sadly. I missed 200, I don't remember where they are exactly. So no perfect hit for me, but Ghost was still intact, however. So I have new objectives, or just one new objective, which is the third one, if you want to read it. So just like with the readables, you have an objective screen that is that doesn't pause the game, but you can access an objective screen through the menu, which actually pauses the game. So whatever you're comfortable with. So now we're going to Red Lenderman's ground floor. Which is patrolled by a guard. A lone guard is alone, and there is a cook in the kitchen, which has a pretty bizarre route. As you'll see. So you have the movements. You basically have three states, just like Thief. You have the creek, you have walk, and you have run. And something that's different from Thief is that this also applies to crouching. Well, not exactly, because you could do that in Thief too, but basically if you run while crouching, you basically make as much noise as if you were walking fast. So you have to be wary of that. Also, you remember in Thief, when you were casually running on wood and stone behind some NPC, he didn't notice you. They do in the dark mode, and they can actually just turn turn around and just spot you in the spot. To be very careful when approaching an AI, which actually makes blackjacking a lot harder than in Thief. And besides, you have to aim carefully with the blackjack, because in the previous, in the Thief games, you could just club even on the foot. It was enough to blackjack some dudes, not in the dark mode. To aim, you can forward lean and
I thought I heard something.
And just blackjack someone on the head from the front, but you have to be. He must not have seen you at all if you want to do it. The AI must not be aware of you at all. It's not that easy to do. And I don't think you can blackjack AIs when after they've been blinded by flash bombs. I'd have to try that, but I don't think it's possible. And when an AI is alerted, it's a lot harder to blackjack. And there was an exploit in the Thief games that you could use to your advantage. Is that even when an AI was fully aware of you, you could still run around him. And when you are in a shadow completely darkened, you could land a blow on his back, and he would just be KO'd instantly, which is pretty damn useful when you're chased by a lone guard and you want to avoid loading and just blackjack him. This doesn't work in the dark mode. And the AI is also a lot more sensitive to your presence, which means that even if your light gem is tiny bright, you can still be spotted. You have to be very careful. Just like in Thief, this is a game for very patient gamers. It is harder to blackjack people and all, you have to be much more careful. Which is a very good thing in my opinion, because Thief, after a while, became very easy. The dark mode is just harder. So we're done with Lenderman, and we are going to exit his house through the back garden again. And we are going to go to the main street, because now we're going to raid the poorhouse, in which some items are hidden, and we'll grab the last few pieces of loot in the mission. And I still don't know where these 200 are. I'm missing. Melan has a knack to hide his loot very cleverly. Really hard to find everything. So this street is pretty crowded. You have 3 guards here. There is another one at the bridge just above us who can see us if we're not careful. And there is a woman in the street on the left. You cannot see her for the moment, but you will see her soon enough. And unlike Thief, the AIs can see very far away, so you will see that I get spotted from a guard at the very end of the street at a point. Which was unfortunate, but that's life. I just had to reload my game and start again this part. You can see the woman at the end of the street. She's walking towards us. And here it's basically waiting for the right moment to move. It's pretty tough because Melan likes to place patrol routes that are complementary to one another, so like there is a guard who pretty much always watches another guard, etc. Here I get spotted. Just wait a bit. You see, I just got spotted by a guard who is at the very end of the street. You almost cannot see it, but I can. He's coming back. We'll just climb here and there. Just a sec. The pipe? Yes. And here we go on a very precarious structure. So this is just in front of Lenderman's house. This is the street in front. Some nice looking textures here. I would like this very dirty wall. Here is our loot objective. And now going back on the wooden surfaces without falling.
Wait until she hears about this.
Next piece of loot we're going to get is a golden cup, which is on the windowsill in front of us, and we have to land on the pipe without the woman hearing us, which is actually harder than it sounds. Fortunately for us, she didn't hear a thing. I was really surprised. Just carefully creep crawling. Here we go. We have a cup, and the archer down there saw me. He just noticed me. It's like your first alert in the Thief games. If you like to ghost, and if you're familiar with it, you just saw something basically, like a shadow or like that. Here, grabbing the ladder to finally go to our goal, which is the cache, and it's here. We're just testing the key, but it doesn't work. So it's a nice loot in here. 5 goblets and a plate. And in the chest we have a pouch of diamonds. There is a golden statue, golden lion statuette, and a chalice. And this completes our objective of raiding the cache. Yay! And there is one last bit of loot I'm getting in this playthrough, which is certainly not all the loot, but it's close enough. And since I'm a ghost, I'm just replacing everything. I will be trying to drop the key, but you can't. So, the dice. Now we're going to go down to the street below, and we're going to go all the way back to the leaf ladder, as I like to call it, to go back on the beams, and we'll go on the tower I'm currently looking at. Here, this tower, this little turret here. Just have to time it correctly because there is a stationary guard who doesn't move at all in front. But you can actually get by the street without too much trouble.
It feels like this day will never end.
I just wondered if the guard heard me climb the ladder, but I don't think they can hear actually. It's pretty nice.
I need a good
So here we have to drop down on the parapet without making noise, which is harder than it looks, but fortunately I do it on my first try. No noise. And now the hard part comes. I have to be very precise in my jump here to reach the bridge. And I fail the first try. I think I'll also fail at the second. Not sure. Oh no, I do it. Alright. Another hard to read piece of paper here. Some really difficult writing. it took me a while to find this place. I just wondered if I could go on the bridge and find everything, and then I just saw this little turret, and I said, well, maybe I could jump here and all, and just get on this parapet and just jump on the bridge and all. And I was surprised it worked, and I was surprised to find some loot in there. So, yeah, this is probably something P4 probably just wouldn't propose to you in any way. Like very hidden, difficult to reach places, nah, just never going to work at all in this new travesty of the game. My thoughts haven't changed one bit. On P4, I think it's just a piece of shit, basically. Sorry for the words, but it's just how I think it is. I don't even think I will play it. I'm just too disgusted with Eidos Montreal. But this is a game for hardcore feeds and stuff, hardcore tatters. If there is one thing Fit4 can do pretty good, in my opinion, is bringing in new players for the dark mode looking for real stealth experience. Because there is no hand-holding, there is no stupid mechanics, there is no QT, there is no swoop, there is no focus, there is no bullshit in TDM, which I like. And you can tell that the people making it passionate about their work. They work very hard for free, and they do a fantastic work that puts most AAA developers to shame, in my opinion. Yeah, we get spotted by a guard at the very end of the street again. We just try several times to find the perfect spot. You can see they're pretty reactive. They usually don't give you any chance if they find you. And if you try to run somewhere high and they can still see you, they will throw rocks at you. So you have to really escape them. And they remain aware of you even if you disappear from their view. So they're aware there is a burglar in the vicinity, and they will come looking for you. Like they're on high alert always, with their swords drawn. Which is very neat. They just don't forget about you. So if you get spotted, it's harder actually to sneak in, which it should be this way. And it's more realistic than in Thief. Like you had some guards saw you, chased you, got back to their shore routes, but after a while they looked like they settled, but they were still fully aware of you, and when you tried to blackjack them, they would instantly turn back and strike you. Which was one of my only little gripes with Thief, as far as AI is concerned. But I think they did a better job in TDM in that regard. In some aspects, TDM is better than Thief. If you're looking for a true next-gen Thief experience, I would recommend the Dark Mode easily. It's just so much better than this crap of a game, Thief 4, or Thief, what's yours is mine. Bullshit, you guys. kind of so ridiculous. Stuff is. And something that's pretty unsettling is that Garrett for the new Thief looks extremely similar to the Thief protagonist, Thief art in the dark mode. Pretty similar, even the mask and all. So mission complete! Hooray! We finished the mission in 48 minutes and 27 seconds. We found 1485 loots out of 1685, and we have a step score of 1, which means that we had 4 first alerts. Suspicious is just first alert. And here is a more detailed alert stat screen. So you can see that I was seen like 4 times, which is suspicious. So this isn't a huge alert. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time for new videos of the dark mode, new missions I will play. The next mission will probably be Return to the City, I think. And of course, I'm practicing my speedruns for Thief Gold, 100% loot. I'm currently practicing for Assassins. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this, and see you next time. Bye bye.